Hi everybody, my name is Nina Goradia and I'm a Somatic Experiencing practitioner. And I'd like to talk with you all about anxiety and anger today and how what these two emotions have in common is that they are in fact defensive emotions. So what are they defending exactly? If you think about it, they are in fact defending our most vulnerable emotions, the emotions within us that when we were young, unfortunately, these are the emotions that got you beat up on the playground. They're the vulnerable emotions, the emotions of not feeling good enough, or we could call it unworthiness or worthlessness or shame, emotions such as feeling powerless or sadness, a feeling of loneliness. These very vulnerable emotions, while there's nothing wrong with feeling them, who doesn't feel this way sometimes? These are the emotions that most of us were given messages when we were young that it's not okay to show these, especially not publicly. We learn how to hide these emotions. But then what happens is there are emotions that overlay them that help us to not feel them. So let's take anger, for example. There are many benefits to anger, but one reason that anger may arise is to help us feel a false sense of power in a moment where we're feeling powerlessness. And because we don't have this immediate way to allow this feeling, to access this feeling of powerlessness, and to just feel it through, because we've been conditioned to clamp it down and to not feel it, to hide it away, what we might have more access to is a feeling of anger. And so it just helps us try to get away from this feeling of powerlessness, but it's really a band-aid for the wound of feeling powerless. It's not releasing it from the root. So what I find when I work with clients is if we can actually find the emotion underneath the anger, so in this case, powerlessness, identify it in the body, and then feel it through and allow it to release. What happens is not only does the feeling of powerlessness release, but so does the anger, because it no longer has anything left to defend. And so we can indulge anger all day, in this case, and it may not go away. This is why some people can have issues with anger for many years. And so it's really important we address, like, what is the primary feeling here? What is the feeling I might be avoiding? There are reasons why anger can be useful in many other situations, but I'm talking about in this context in particular, if it's trying to help us not feel powerlessness. Similarly, with anxiety, so we're feeling this fear arising within us, and sometimes it can just be a primal fear, and that's all it is. But other times it's helping us not feel a vulnerable emotion, because, if we allowed ourselves to feel not good enough, just the sheer tenderness and vulnerability of that emotion, so scary to have that be seen, because we don't know if we're going to be loved and accepted if we display this. It's quite sad because these are universal emotions. I don't know anyone who doesn't feel some of these feelings, but we're all kind of taught not to show these publicly, and then we often can compare our insides to other people's outsides and just not know that this is so normal. And so we might develop this defensive emotion of anxiety, this hypervigilance, this always trying to look out externally. How is my environment? Is it safe to be around certain people? And so, again, there can be reasons that anxiety can be helpful, in cases of trauma. Sometimes having a heightened nervous system in this way helps us recognize dangerous people or situations and protects us. And then in other cases, it can be a barrier where we're unable to just access the emotion underneath. So next time you're feeling anxiety or anger, I encourage you to ask yourself, is there something I'm feeling underneath this? And see if you can find it in the body, and then really try to allow it to be there. Give it permission to be there. And that's the first step for feeling something through. Don't try to release it. Try to love it. Try to welcome it. Try to help this part of you that's feeling a certain way just feel safe and cared for. And then as you lower your resistance to feeling the emotion oftentimes will just release right through you. And sometimes it will stay, but it won't feel unpleasant anymore. The unpleasant discomfort, it comes from our resistance to the feelings. So start trying to make friends with your feelings and notice how peaceful it can be to live inside your body when you're not fighting your feelings and at war with them, but when you can make friends with them in this way. So I hope this is helpful to you, and we'll expand more in future videos. I hope you have a great day.